The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom leaked, and Nintendo is pissed about it. There's been a long story of Tears of the Kingdom leaks, starting with leaks of an art book, all up to the entire game. Nintendo is out to take legal action against the offenders, so let's dive in and see what actually happened. The first leak happened in February for an art book of the title, and the leak of this could spoil major elements of the game such as new enemies, bosses, and story elements. This game is a project that Nintendo is keeping very close to themselves, seemingly keeping tighter wraps on it compared to any previous Mario, Smash Bros, or even Pokemon title. As soon as the PDF file of the art book started to surface, it was discovered that the source was from a Discord server titled Tears of the Kingdom Official Discord Server. While it's clear that it's far from anything official, it seems that multiple users there were able to share the PDF and even have the role title, the PDF Pirate, in their name. Nintendo officially subpoenaed Discord and demanded on February 24th that the copyrighted material be taken down. Nintendo then went as far to request information on all the leakers and have the entire server shut down. Sounds pretty typical for Nintendo in my opinion. And you have to imagine, for anyone to get their hands on something this official, something this internal, in my opinion, this had to be an inside guy, and usually that's the case for all Nintendo leaks. It's maybe a young worker on the inside who wants to have a little bit of clout, flex what they know, and share it to their friends because they're so excited about it. And trust me, as someone who's been known previously to be a leaker, I would say in the end it's not worth it. But if you want the extra little bit of clout sprinkling on you, life is short, I guess. Kotaku reported that Nintendo's subpoena specifically targeted a Discord user named Julian. It's unclear if they are the same person who originally shared the leak on Reddit, claiming to have received the art book from a friend. Even on the Tears of the Kingdom subreddit and the subreddit's corresponding Discord server, however, some users dispute that Julian was the original leaker after all, rather than someone just taking credit to help popularize it. Kotaku, of course, reached out to Julian for a comment, but unsurprisingly, they did not comment. There is precedent to this, though, as Nintendo has taken similar action against leaks such as the Pokemon Sword and Shield Strategy Guide leak from 2019, which involved both 4chan and Discord. In said hearing, it was shown that materials like strategy guides and publication were kept in secure areas under tarps where no personal recording devices were allowed. When all was said and done, with the Sword and Shield leak, the leaker was sentenced to pay a whopping $150,000. Compared to other leak lawsuits that I've seen, that's actually not that much. But I'm sure any of us paying $150,000 for posting an image online for the funny ha-has sucks big time. But that's just the art book. What about the entire game? Remember, the entire game now is actually available to download. While we've seen some copies start to hit the user's hands a tad early from retailers, no one is sure of the exact source of how it got online. Some brief searching can get you the entire game online, and just as everyone is excited for the game, searches for it have absolutely blown up. We come from a time where when you search for a game in an emulator, you can get some retro titles, N64, PlayStation, maybe GameCube and Wii if you are lucky, but nowadays, guys, it's all available there. Every game, even games on release day, somehow are available to download. That's the power of people who know what they're doing, the power of hackers, the power of people who just understand what having a game available for pre-order and download can do, and especially people who have the right access in the wrong hands. It's really bizarre what anyone for free can get their hands on in this day and age. Whenever new games come out, though, usually emulators need to be updated to ensure this kind of compatibility. So when people started to get Tears of the Kingdom downloaded, they needed some help getting it to run perfectly with popular emulators Yuzu and Ryujinx, and searching for information with that has put them in Nintendo's line of sight. So even though Yuzu and the other emulators were kind of just doing their own thing, the fact that they were able to have the right compatibility for Tears of the Kingdom meant Nintendo is now putting a direct target right on them. Technically on their own, emulators are perfectly legal, but if these Switch emulators start targeting performance and talking about a game that's unreleased, such as Tears of the Kingdom, it gives clear proof that foul play is afoot. As such, the two emulators have had to ban complete discussion of Tears of the Kingdom from their Discord servers and make no mention of it to avoid being involved with pirated material. Because they know those Nintendo ninjas, They are not going to stop at all if they see foul play. They will shut down everything and make sure you pay for it. But now, without an official outlet for help for these emulators, there are now numerous counts of malware and viruses disguised as Tears of the Kingdom, and fixes for emulators to play the title. So by not having that an official pirate to help guide all the young pirates in, now, malware and a bunch of horrible things that can destroy your computer are everywhere, and people are taking advantage of this lack of guidance due to this fallout. To make matters even worse, Nintendo has started a DMCA takedown request with code repository GitHub that was a host to a tool called Lockpick, an application that can be used to extract encryption keys from your Switch that's needed to emulate all these fun games. This is a huge blow to all sorts of emulation for the Switch, and even though it's still possible, this will make it harder for the future. The entire situation has gotten so messy that one of the popular Switch emulators called Skyline has completely called it quits. As of now, both Yuzu and Ryujinx are still operating at full force. Do you think this will tamper the entire emulation scene for the Switch and the entire emulation scene for other games? Is Nintendo going too far here, or is it exactly what you expect? Comment below and tell me what you think. But if you want my opinion, my take on the situation, look, I'm no stranger to emulating games. A lot of my come up as a child, I had my N64, had my Game Boy Advance, loved it, had my Sega Genesis, but there's so many other consoles that I never really got a chance to play. And growing up, I had a Super Nintendo emulator, I had an N64 emulator, PlayStation emulator, NES emulator, and I got access to so many games that I love to this day. And I'm going to tell you right now, because of those games I emulated as a child, it led to me buying official copies of those games on Virtual Console, or on, for instance, buying online for the Nintendo Switch, just to have them on the go. I would have never been interested in those games had I not had the access to them to play it for free as a 10-year-old on my parents' computer. I get it, it's legally, immoral, if you will. You're not supposed to do that. There's always a phrase, you wouldn't download a car, even though we all would. My point is, there's so many people in the world with this interest. There's so many ways and programs and tools and workarounds to all of the, security measures that so many of these companies put in. Security is important, but one way or another, the internet is so far-reaching and so big, someone out there smart enough is going to find a way around it. And that person, if they're generous enough, will give that access easily to the rest of the world. The question is, you as a company, being Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, whoever you want to be, how do you handle it when it gets to this point, right? You as a company want to make profit. You will make a profit off a Legend of Zelda title. I don't think there's been a single case ever in the history of a title release this big, a Grand Theft Auto, a Zelda, a Mario, where emulation has caused a massive hit to sales. It just hasn't happened. Emulating and people who download games, they're a big audience, but by no means are they the majority of the audience purchasing a game. There just needs to be, I don't know, I wouldn't say there has to be more measures, because I say more power to the players, and whatever you can get your hands on, go and play it. But I do think that when you purchase a game fully from a, first party creator, developer, obviously you're going to get the full experience, you're going to get the game as intended, full compatibility, you're not going to get glitches, things hampering in your way and all that. But if you're willing to take the risk, man, every person deserves to get what they want to get their hands on, especially if you're not hurting anyone. The only thing you're hurting is like a percentage of the profits of an already multi-billion-dollar company that's already got a lot of gripes in my head. I say go for it, man. But do it at your own risk. As you can see from this video and the news alone, they're starting to crack down on a lot more of these emulators. And if this keeps continuing, I'll be surprised if there's any emulators even left to run things as time proceeds. And for people who use Yuzu, especially people who play Smash Bros on Yuzu to get more of a lag-free experience online, this would suck if it involved taking it down. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Play at your own risk, and stay hungry. I'll see you next time.